Welcome, welcome. We're discussing the Psicha of Vayechi, 1992, about holiness of the woman, how it's the real strength, the real tokef. It's like the iron strength, which is more than stone strength. Iron is stronger than stones, right? When they're digging tunnels, they were digging with iron to break the stone. So there's everything in unholiness has its counterpart in holiness. And there I was talking about how the women, our foremothers, had a strength that was beyond the strength of our forefathers. Okay, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, very high level of prophecy and connection to God. But Hashem said to Abraham, "Listen to your wife, listen to Sarah." And the reason was, the rabbis say, she was higher than him in prophecy. So that, it says, will be revealed, the strength of the women in their holiness, their strength of holiness that is on a higher level, will be revealed in the future. And this is what we're dealing with right now. Okay, and we're going to learn more what Rebbe has to say here. So we're in paragraph 6, page 198 of this book. Okay. Maybe we should say. So whenever the Rebbe says Ulay Yeshlama, it means the Rebbe is making and bringing his own insight, his own idea, his own new novel explanation. שהשלמות הבזל לקדושה של בית המקדש השלישית, אבל לא רק בחוזק ותוקף ונצחיות, אלא גם בכך שבניינו יהיה לא רק מאבנים, אלא גם מברזל. שהברזל עצמו יהיה חלק מהבניין בבית המקדש עצמו. Yesterday we learned what the Rebbe was explaining, how the first and second temple they did not make it with iron. They didn't bring iron onto the Temple Mount to build on the Temple Mount with it. So, and if there was any iron, it was on the rooftop, high up, just to keep the birds away. So it was above it wasn't part of, actually, it was on the part of the Bais Hamikdash that isn't considered necessarily part of the temple. It was like a guardrail above on the roof. But in the future, there will be iron in the Holy Temple. And there is a significance for that. Is the strength, the iron strength that will come about in the third temple will be expressed not just the fact, in fact that it has iron, meaning that it will never be destroyed. That's one thing. But so the iron is not going to just signify that it will last forever, but it will be part of the building of the Holy Temple and the Bais Hamikdash, and we'll see what the significance of that is. He says, "Barzel," and this is the Rebbe's novel, Chiddush. Barzel n'ktiv b'mishkan v'mikdash she'achriv Bais Hamikdash k'ayil Bais Chana Bais Sheni sh'nechudvu al-yedei Barzel. So they didn't use iron in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle, or in the Bais Hamikdash, the first or second, right? Because they were destroyed through iron. However, it says the future Bais Hamikdash, it says, will be an eternal edifice. There will not be any destruction for the third temple that's coming to be. Therefore, we're not afraid of iron being used for it, because we're not afraid of the iron of the unholy side, right? Iron that can destroy. Because in the future, there will be no strength of iron of unholiness, of the other side. Other side means unholiness. Everything in holiness has its counter in unholiness. So there won't be any unholiness in the future. So we won't be afraid of having iron to build the third temple or be in the part of the third temple. Therefore, it's possible and it's necessary to use iron to build the third temple, or to have iron in it, to show and emphasize the advantage and the wholeness of transforming the iron. That iron was used to destroy, and now in the third temple, it's being used to be part of the building itself. Okay, so the Rebbe says, okay, that's the Rebbe's novel Chiddush. We all know, that it could be used in the third temple. The Rebbe says, not only it could be used, it should be used, because that is going to signify and show how it's been transformed, how the unholiness of iron has been transformed to holiness. V'yeshlama, and here the Rebbe is continuing with his own yeshlama, which is his own insight. Okay, the Rebbe would only say yeshlama when he's like bringing his own idea. Yeshlama means we could say. What it says in the prophecies of Divrei Hayamim And on footnote 98 has the exact source for it. בנוגע לפעולתו של דוד בהכנת כל הדור של בניין בית המקדש, הכינותי לבית אלוקי הזהב ולזהב והכסף לכסף, ונחושת ונחושת, but it does say that David HaMelech did prepare not only gold and silver and copper, he also prepared iron for the building of the Bais HaMikdash. Barzal 100,000 kikarim, it says that the iron they had 100,000 kikarim, that's the amount that was used, whatever the kikar is, but it was a significantly high amount, big amount, large amount, which was the main thing the Rebbe says will be whole and complete. The 100,000 iron things that David HaMelech prepared will be completely used in the future Bais HaMikdash, of the third holy temple. That will be built through the King David's descendant, which will be David Melech HaMashiach, the King Mashiach, who comes from the seed of David HaMelech. And this is, I was quoting this from Pirush Haramban, Nachmanides, the end of Parshat Sito, and I'll read you the footnote. It's a long footnote. Footnote 99. Just let me welcome who came on. Somebody came on. Okay, whoever you are. Hey. Not sure you are. You could always, if you want, you can introduce yourself later. Don't feel obligated. Pirush Haramban, it says, הברזל אשר הקדיש דוד שלו לכתב משקלו לעשות ממנו כלים, לכרות העצים ולחצוב האבנים היה, אבל בנוגע למשכן והמקדש עצמו מושמע לברזל לגמרי. It says, the Ramban, Nachmanides says, that this iron that David put aside for the building of the temple, there was also this iron that wasn't even maybe accounted for how much there was. It was to be used to make the vessels, to cut the trees and to cut the stone. But when it came to the actual Bais HaMikdash or the Mishkan itself, there was no iron used to make them directly. So there's a whole back and forth about it in the I guess the different rabbis. So Chaim Rebbe says we have to look into more about about the, what we said, the guardrail on the rooftop of the Bais HaMikdash that was made from barzel, was made from iron. But and there's it's very high. So there has been different sources that discuss this concept of the iron. Now there's also another thing the Rebbe brings, another Perush Marzo, another explanation to the Medrash. It says, what it says at the end of Divrei Yamim, that David HaMelech, right, brought collected barza, collected iron, 100,000 kikarim, a big amount of iron for the building of the Bais HaMikdash. So he writes over there that it could be that was for the chatzeros. That was for the outskirts, the yard of the Bais HaMikdash, and not for the inside of the Bais HaMikdash. שהברזל היה בבניין המקדש עצמו, שלא קדש הרמב"ן שהיה רק עבור הכלים לכרות העצים. Ramban said it was only for making the vessels that were used to make the Bais HaMikdash, to cut the trees and make the stone. But another pair says that maybe it was also used in the yard itself. Ela b'chatzer v'lo b'pni, but it was on the outskirts of the Bais, the yard of it, not inside the Bais HaMikdash. It says we have to look into it more. Why they would need such a huge amount of iron for just the outside of the Bais HaMikdash, for there's the yard, okay? So, whereas it says in the future Bais HaMikdash, it's not explained directly what will be used. And this Pirush that the Rebbe is quoting on the Medrash says that it's not clear if there will not be barzel in the future. It could be that in the future, that's what he said. There's a place to say that there will be barzel also, there will be iron also inside the Bais HaMikdash in the future Bais HaMikdash. So there was bringing a quote of this idea that the barzel will be used inside the Bais HaMikdash. Okay, now this is significant. I know this all back and forth. Why these rabbis? Because there's a spiritual significance. And yesterday we discussed how it's very interesting that the war that they're fighting now, they called it iron. Right, sword of iron sword, cherev barzel is what it's called, and there's something in it that we're using, and this war that we're fighting, we all know that, and all the soldiers know that it's miraculous, and that there's a lot of potency in us as Jewish women saying Tehillim and davening and learning, and there's something in us, the strength of the Yid that's coming out in this, the inner strength, which the Rebbe mentioned yesterday. The Barzel represents, iron represents the inner strength, the core strength, the essential inner core strength of a Jew. It's the deepest part of the Jew is being expressed, like the Barzel is the deepest, strongest strength. So, and that is what's coming out now in our times now. Our inner identity is coming out by all Yidden as our strong connection to Hashem, the inner depths of strength, the strongest point of the Yid, the Barzel, our inner strength. But the Rebbe is going to talk about the women, which is what we want to get to, how the women have this Barzel, because we mentioned yesterday, right? Barzel, the Rebbe brings out, is Rashi Tevos, Bilha, Rachel, Zilpa, and Leah, which are the four foremothers. So we're going to get to that. And we have to do footnote 102. Okay, so let's continue inside. I'm sorry I'm taking so long with the footnotes and everything, but it's gonna all come together. Okay. And if you want to ask, you can ask. Okay. Now, okay, so there's these ideas that in the Mefarshim that there will be iron used in the third temple. The question is how and where and what, but it will be used, God willing. And the Rebbe says not only will be used, it should be used, because spiritually it's going to signify that the strongest strength of unholiness, the most tenacious, strong thing that's opposing Hashem and hurtful and destructive, is going to be transformed to holiness. That's okay. Okay. So there's another pasuk that says, Gadol Yeb Kvod Bais Chana. This is the little star at the bottom footnotes of the footnotes. It says in the verse that the third temple will be its honor will be very great, more than the first temple. That's from Chagai, from the prophet Chagai. And it says also, it says this actually, this verse is talking about the second temple. And then the Gemara spot, that this verse is also referring to and mainly about the third temple. And that's also from the Zohar, from Kabbalah, that the third temple will be much stronger and everlasting and much bigger and grander than the first and the second holy temple. Okay. That's a little star at the bottom. Now, the Zayin, Alpi, according to this, Yesh Lomar, we should say, okay, again, the Rebbe is going to his Chiddush, his insight. The fast of this 10th of Tevis, which was the day the Rebbe was saying this, or around the date that the Rebbe was saying this, was around, right? We just had 10th of Tevis a few days ago. And I think this also was probably a few days after the 10th of Tevis. This was, I think, on either right before or right after the fast day. So the Rebbe says the fast day of the 10th of Tevis was actually not the beginning of the destruction of the Holy Temple, but it was also the beginning of the future building of the future Bais Hamikdash in the future, right? So we always associate the fast day with the destruction, but the Rebbe says, if you look deeper, it's really the beginning of the future Geula, of the future redemption. And that's the way the Rebbe wants us to see everything, not as what it is for itself right here and now. It looks like everything's being destroyed, God forbid, or there's destruction, but to look at every destruction, especially the beginning of destruction, as the beginning of the Geula, of the building of the future Bais Hamikdash. So even though the siege around Yerushalayim, which happened in 10th of Tevis, was the beginning of all the things that brought about the destruction of the temple, since the intention, right, the kavanah, the purpose and the intent of the destruction from Hashem's perspective is that afterwards we'll come to the third Bais Hamikdash, the building of the future Bais Hamikdash, Beit Nitzcha, which will be an eternal everlasting house building. We find that, so therefore, the beginning of the occurrences that brought about the destruction of the Bais Hamikdash are also the beginning of the future building of the future. Okay, so I was thinking also, like when we look at October 7th and it's Simchas Torah, and like we were thinking, how's Simchas Torah? Is it going to be a day of mourning, of God forbid, it's the beginning of a war? And we're thinking, and the Rebbe is saying, no, the Rebbe is saying look at it for what it really is. It's just the beginning of the future building of the Beis Hamikdash. By then we should have the Beis Hamikdash already built. But the point is that the Asar B'Tevis also, if you look deeper, it's really the beginning of the rebuilding of the third temple. V'inyan ze me'umaz b'asiman shenitan b'sheichut lamatzol b'Asar B'Tevis v'takach l'cha machbat barzel v'natata takil barzel. And this is how a sign to this was given when alluding to when the prophet was giving a prophecy, Yechezkel, I believe it was, Yechezkel was giving the prophecy of the 10th of Tevis. Hashem told him, take a pan of barzel, a pan of iron, and give it make it like a wall of barzel, a wall of iron, and that will be an ice, that will be a sign to the house of Israel, and that there will be a destruction. Meaning, why was iron used? Why did Hashem tell Yechezkel to take this iron and make the sign with it? Why? Because it's alluding to that afterwards in the future will be revealed the wholeness and completion of the barzel, of the iron of holiness in the future Beis Hamikdash. So the future, the strength of iron of barzel is going to be revealed in the third Beis Hamikdash, and that's why he told the prediction of the destruction. Hashem told the prophet to predict it and prophesize about it by taking a piece of iron to show, a pan of iron to show that the destruction is coming. But that in it was hinting that the future of the barzel will be transformed in the third Beis Hamikdash. So there's a bunch of footnotes. Okay, so let me just see. Oh, we did mention this footnote, I think, that at footnote 102, that in the Beis Hamikdash there was the menorah, could be menorah, the actual menorahs, the different, they had, or even the menorah, I guess itself, the main one. Let me just read inside. Similar to this was in a second Beis Hamikdash where they already had some iron, because the Cheshmonaim used iron for the menorah in the second temple. And also they had it on the rooftop to stop the birds from sitting on the rooftop. Because the first temple was so holy, they did not need any iron on the rooftop, because the birds would not, it was such a holy edifice, the birds did not sit on it. So they didn't need to put an iron thing on the rooftop in the first place in the Mikdash. But Ayesh Lomar, so the Rebbe says we have to say, B'Bais Chana of California. The first temple was so holy, they didn't have to deal with any transforming unholiness to holiness. But the second temple, it wasn't on such a high level. They did have to deal with the evil or the bad or the external things, and they did need to deal with transforming unholiness to holiness. That's why there was also some iron in the second temple on the rooftop and in the menorah. So in the second temple, though, the iron was a small amount. It was the barzel in the menorah was instead of the silver or gold, and it was, I think, covered up also, and the iron that was on the top of the rooftop was on the outside of the Beis Hamikdash, right? It wasn't necessarily exactly inside. Whereas in the third Beis Hamikdash, there will be a lot of iron. There'll be 100,000 kikarim, it's a big amount. In the binyan atzmo, in the building itself, because the transformation of barzel, of the strength of unholiness, the toughness of unholiness, will be completely transformed with tachlit shlamut, in full complete transformation. So any evil or toughness or strength of the other side that we see now, we say what a chutzpah, what a horrible, awful, unholy, evil that's going on, or that people can commit or do, God forbid. We see that now. All that will be completely transformed in the third, in complete transformation in the third Beis Hamikdash. Okay, so when we saw the Asar B'Tevis, Rebbe said that was just to look at it deeper. So the 10th of Tevis was just to have the beginning, was just to bring about really not the destruction, but to bring about the future rebuilding. So that's how the Rebbe wants us to see. And the more tough we see that toughness, that strength of unholiness is going to be transformed. Also, the rabbis say, footnote 103, the rabbis call it, when we talk about destruction of the Beis Hamikdash on Tisha B'Av, they say, a lion came up and he destroyed the Ariel, which is also the word Ari, which is a lion. So that's the Beis Hamikdash is also called like an Ariel, which is like a lion. And when in order that a lion should come, Ariel, and build the Ariel, the Beis Hamikdash. So it's all, this is from the Midrash, it's all referring to also the rebuilding, that the whole point of the Beis Hamikdash being destroyed was for the rebuilding. And in the same manner of the strength that it was destroyed, the strength of the rebuilding. And that's from the Midrash. That's another Midrash. Yalkut Shimoni and Yirmiyahu. That's footnote 103. Okay. Okay, another footnote 104. Okay. Footnote 104. So the Rebbe's bring all these. Okay, Yom Takita said that it will become sweetened even more when we bring the medrash from the rabbis and the Gemara Gittin. It says, when it comes about the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, it says, "V'halvanon ba'adiri po," the Lebanon will fall ba'adir, and with great, adir is like big and grand, and it will fall. Meaning Lebanon, with all its greatness, will fall. Yipol. Vein adir el melech. Adir, when they say the word adir, it's referring to a kingship, like a king, like a ruler. Dechtiv haya adiro mimenu, and he brings a supporting pasuk for that. Shebepashtur hakatuv al Lebanon ba'adir yipol ne'emar al mapalat sanchiv al yidei Chizkiyahu. According to the simple explanation of the verse that says "V'halvanon ba'adir yipol," the greatness of the Lebanon will fall. It's talking about what mapalat sanchiv al yidei Chizkiyahu. And according to the literal translation of the verse, it's talking about Sancheriv falling through Chizkiyahu, being defeated by the king Chizkiyahu. And the footnote, yeah, he used Barzel. There was in the psukim over there, it also talks about the Barzel, the iron that they used, that they broke the klipa, they broke the unholiness of Sancherib through also the Barzel, the iron of holiness. So the Rebbe already says in a very footnote of a footnote, the star of the footnote at the bottom of footnote 104, that it's talk that also when Sancherib when Chizkiyahu defeated Sancherib, so when Sancherib was defeated through Chizkiyahu, he used Barzel of holiness. He used the iron of holiness. And then there's a parentheses over here in this footnote 104. In the merit of Chizkiyahu, in his merit, he was the Adir, he was the strength, the grand one, and he was the ruler of the Jewish people. Like Rashi explains, the greatness came from him. Hashem wanted to make Chizkiyahu the Mashiach. The Sancheriv Gogol Magog, he wanted to make Sancheriv the Gogol Magog. This is from the Gemara Sanhedrin. Like it's explained in the psukim over there. It says in the psukim, not over there, not talking about, okay, not in the Sefer Chizkiyahu, but it says that the future. It says that the Mashiach will come from the seed of Yishai, which is Yehuda, which is from the seed of David HaMelech, King David. Shekai al Mashiach, which is talking about Mashiach. So Hashem wanted to make, Chizkiyahu was a very righteous person. He was a very good ruler. He was a grand ruler of the Jewish people. And Hashem really wanted to make him Mashiach. And he wanted that to be the final battle. His Mashiach Sancherib would be Gog and Magog, and that's according to the Gemara Sanhedrin. And that we know didn't take place. The Rebbe doesn't quote it here, but it was because he didn't thank Hashem. He didn't sing Shira, he didn't sing and praise Hashem when Sancherib was defeated. miraculously, right? And we know the story. Chizkiyahu went to sleep, and then they woke up. He woke up in the morning. The whole army was gone, was dead. They just died in their sleep. So when he didn't praise Hashem and thank Hashem, he did not get the zchut of becoming Mashiach. So we learn from this, my little take, which the Rebbe explains also in other places, we have to thank Hashem for the miracles. We can't just look at the news and say it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. How does it say? We have to look for the news and see what all the miracles that are happening, and thank Hashem for all the miracles.
I think I also learned that it wasn't that he didn't thank Hashem after, but it wasn't that he didn't thank him in advance. So I think part of what we have to feel is what's happening. Like, we're already thanking Hashem for the Geula, already thanking him for the good that is happening, not like just waiting for it to happen and then thank him. I think that's the nuance.
Yes. Did I tell you the story yesterday? I don't know if I saw it yesterday right before class, and I don't know if I told the story of this woman who, and it's been going around, so you may have seen it. This young woman, I think she's Russian. She was one of the hostages, and she came out. She spoke in Hebrew, and she said that she had suspected she may have a growth of some sort. She had herself checked. This was a few months ago. And yes, she had some sort of a growth. So somebody told her, say kapitel, I don't know if it was kapitel 20 or 22, but she said, say every day for your, complete recovery. So she apparently, wasn't familiar with this verse of Tehillim, and she was wondering when she did take it on. She started saying it every day for her, and she said, say it every day for a certain amount of days. I also don't remember, it was like 40 days or 60 days or something like that. And but she said it every day, and she was wondering every day when she was saying it over and over, why am I saying these verses? It was all about a war, okay? And all about not to be afraid during the war. And Hashem is saving me from the war, and from if enemies come up against you, you'll be, saved. And she said, this has nothing to do with my health. And in any event, she said it. And the last day when she finished her saying that chapter of Tehillim, was the 7th of October, was that day, was her last day of having to say it from the days that she was told to say it. And she herself also didn't want to go to south of Israel for that day for some, because her partner, really, her boyfriend, whatever, I'm not sure, didn't want to stay where they were, wanted to go south. And she said, unfortunately, I listened to him. And they were there, and they were in a room that didn't have a mamad. They didn't have a safe room. They were in a visiting center that didn't have a safe room. So the terrorists did come. They found him and her. They took him. He's missing. He's probably a hostage. And she was taken also hostage. And she said she had some sort of an inner strength that she doesn't really know where it came from. I forgot to undo myself. I'm sorry. Hi, hello, ladies. I forgot to come on screen for you. Okay. So she had this. She said she looked at the camera. Okay, that's what I was thinking. The camera. You don't see me. She looked at the camera with strength and conviction. She wasn't afraid of them. To a certain degree, she had this inner strength. She didn't say she wasn't afraid, but she said she had some sort of a ability to look at them straight. And she had these verses of, don't be afraid, and don't be, Hashem is saving you, Hashem is with you, don't let your heart fear. And they were taking pictures of her, and she looked straight at them in the camera, and she was hoping when she was looking that people in Israel would see these pictures and know that she's taken captive and, hopefully save her. But she was, when she had this inner strength that she felt was from these psukim, and then was redeemed and was taken out, and told that was now telling the story. So why am I bringing this? Because of the inner strength that lo yalibid, not to be afraid, and she definitely could see the connection of the miracle of her being told to say these psukim, these verses, and that did give her that chapter gave her a lot of strength, while she was captive. And she even said that the terrorist that was she didn't have this fear of talking to them like people. And she saw the terrorist when she was being released. He was making a picture of of a light, of a candle. And she asked him, why are you doing this? And he said, because you've been the light here, and you're leaving. So he was drawing a picture of light, which was like mind-boggling. She couldn't believe that a terrorist would be, thinking of light coming from her. So somehow he could sense that she had some light about her. It's a very unusual, interesting story. But
The capital was
what?
Chafzaim. The capital that she said was Chafzaim because at the end
Okay. Thank you.
at the end of her talk,
Yeah.
she repeated that this is what she was telling herself. Shafti beves Hashem kol yemei chayei. That I would go back to the house of my father and I would sit in front of Hashem. So she thanked Hashem at the end with those psukim from the capital Chafzaim.
Okay, so now we're going back to thanking Hashem. Okay, right?
And it goes back to, she was saying it before it even happened. So she was
Right.
already
That's it.
already thanking Hashem for the miracle, not knowing why she was saying it, but she was actually already preparing the Yeshua before she even had the
Wow,
the
beautiful. Wow, I have chills. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, so that's it. So she was saying these psukim in her mind and thanking Hashem, Shafti b'beis Hashem, that I will come and sit in the house of Hashem forever and ever. Right, that's the end of the kapitel of Chavzayin. Right, Chavzayin is the David Hashem Oivi Ishi, correct? Right, Mimira.
Yes, that we say during Elul.
Elul, yes. So beautiful. Wow. So that's our strength, to say these psukim tehillim, to know it and to thank Hashem in advance, like Roma says, that we will be redeemed. And that's, this focus of these classes, Malchus, is to bring us to the point where we see the future coming and unfolding. The Geula Shlema, the building of the Bais Hamikdash, is everything we're going through now is part of the process of the revelation of Geula Shlema. Okay, that's how we're seeing. That's how the Rebbe sees things, and that's how he wants us to see things. We're all in the process of the preparing for the Geula Mitis Vashlema, the true and complete redemption. And like Shlomo says, we need to thank Hashem that it's happening. It's real. It's not just a future hope. It's happening now. This inner strength that we're having is part of making it happen. Okay, so that's footnote 104. If any of you ladies see a footnote that I skipped, because I'm not, you can tell me and we can, let's say like here, footnote 96, I'm saying it looks also like a nice footnote. As in the future, we won't have the aspect of iron that it stops or shortens the life of a person, God forbid. Like it says in Yeshayahu, chapter 2, verse 4, it says, that we won't be using iron swords anymore. We will put away our swords. More than that, there won't be the opposite of light. It says in the Midrash in the end of Parshat Vayechi. In this world, it says, when we have the Yetzirah, we have the evil inclination, our lives are shortened, the years are shortened. However, in the future, Hashem will take away all end to life, all death, forever, and Hashem will wipe away tears from all our face, or from all faces. Meaning there will, at a certain point in the times of Mashiach, there will be an end to death. We know that at the first part of the stage of Mashiach coming, there still will be, people will die, they will live longer, but they will still pass on. But a later stage of Mashiach, then there will be no more death. Okay, so that was footnote 96. Okay, and that was in context with when the Rebbe says we transform the iron that destroyed the Bais Hamikdash. It says will be transformed to be part of the Bais Hamikdash, and Rebbe says we are using the iron in the Bais Hamikdash of the future to show that it was transformed. The iron of unholiness was transformed to iron of holiness. Okay. So let's see some more because we want to understand more this iron of holiness. But does anybody want to say something or ask something? Because I think we finished paragraph 6. We already did, no, we did 7 too. Yes, we did paragraph 7. We're up to 8. Does anybody want to say or ask, or should I just continue a little bit more for a few more minutes? Yeah, let's continue. Okay, it says, how's this connected? The Rebbe says this will be sweetened when we connect this to the Geula Atida, to the future redemption. When we're talking about the time of the 10th of Tevis. 10th of Tevis we're in Chodesh Asiri, we're in the 10th month, I guess when you're counting from Nisan, right? From Nisan, it would be the 10th month. And the Midin Chodeshim Chodesh Nisan, yeah, Chodesh al Geula. The Nisan is the month of Geula. 10th month from Nisan is Tevis, the month we're in now. B'Chodesh Asiri Etzmo, we're saying the 10th month, the 10th day of the month, Asiri Shabasri, the 10th of the 10th. Asiri Kodesh, and 10th we know signifies holiness, completion. Shomez al Shlemut Geula Atida. It hints and alludes to the wholeness and completion of the future redemption. Shabbat Shlemut so in it will be the wholeness of 10. The coming of the 10th, which will be the 10th psalm. Like we know in the future, we'll be singing the 10th psalm. It says, this is from the Midrash, from Mechilta, which is the Midrash. We'll have the 10th psalm, we'll have the 10th paraduma, 10th Ben Hefer, and we'll have the 10th counting of the Jewish people. In the future, another thing of 10 will be that we won't have just the 7 nations of Canaan. We'll have the 10. We'll have all the 10 lands of Canaan. Meaning we'll have the other side of the river, which remember right now is like Syria. Okay, and we're seeing that we're spreading out. We're expanding our borders right now as we speak. I heard yesterday, I saw printed that actually there were some drones coming in over from Yemen, and who intercepted it? Okay, you won't believe this if you haven't heard this news. This is Gula Dika news. Jordan and Egypt were intercepted these drones that were on their way to Israel. Okay, so this is definitely Mashiach times. We're having these Arab countries fighting our war for us. Okay, I don't know if you want to say something about this, you could, but for me that was like, what? Lebanon and Egypt are fighting for us now. Mainly you think, okay, America's sending troops, America's sending equipment, there's other countries in Europe that are joining this task force to, make the seas more, clear and safe. That melee, you could say, okay, that's a miracle, but it's a miracle that's you could expect. But now you're seeing Jordan and Egypt intercepting things that are on the, destructive things on the way there. So that's definitely a pella, a wonder. It's more than a miracle. Anybody want to say something? I'm in a wonder state from that.
I think that's absolutely wonderful.
It's a wonder. Wonderful is wonder, right?
Yes.
Pella, a pella. Okay. Okay. Nisim v'niflos. Yes, we're seeing wonders. Okay, so we need to thank Hashem for this. It seems like this is just a little side note piece of news. We got to make a big deal out of it. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Let's sing about it. Make a big deal about it. All these wonders and miracles. Transformation of the unholiness, right? What's so wonder and what's so pale about it is that the Egypt and Jordan are, klippa. They've been representing unholiness, and it's being transformed to their energy, and their power is being used for kedusha, for holiness, to protect the Jewish people. That's exactly what Rebbe was talking about over here. Is going to be happening in the future. It's happening now. Yeah? Is that clear? Do you agree? Do you agree is the question.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Baruch Hashem.
Okay. So in the future we will have this iron, which represents iron and strength of of holiness, which counters the strength and iron of unholiness, will be used in the future temple and inside the temple, inside the main, in a big amount, 100,000 kikar, which however much a kikar is a certain amount of weight. Or in Kevesh Lama, the Rebbe says that we have to say, one second. Oh wait, this I did already. This I did. I was reading the footnote that was on this page, but we already did that page. Okay, so we're talking about 10. We're in the 10th month. The 10th of Tevis is the 10th day of the 10th month. 10th Rebbe says signifies holiness, completion of holiness, which and we know the wholeness of 10 will be signified in the future, where it says that there'll be the completion of 10, and what there'll be the 10th song that we'll sing of praise to Hashem, thanking Hashem. There'll be, and which will be the final and complete song, because there won't be any exile afterwards. And so the big grand thank you to Hashem will be the 10th song of the future. There'll be the 10th red heifer. There'll be the 10th counting of the Jewish people. And we'll have the land of 10 nations, not just 7. Zot this and even more, the Rebbe says, Chodesh Teves, the month of Teves, Kolobim Teves B'Michad Asir Shabo, including and especially on the 10th of the 10th, Yerach Shaguf Nena Min Haguf. What's Teves? It says in Chazal, well, it says in Megillah, in the Gemara Megillah, that what's special about the month of Teves, that the body enjoys the body, and it's talking about the body above. Lamala, the Lamala, the body, so to speak, above. There's no body above, but we're talking about the aspect of body in the spiritual realms, which is referring to Hashem's essence, the body of Hashem, which is Hashem doesn't have a body, is meaning Hashem's essence. Nena, so to speak, enjoy, so to speak, the guf, the body below, which is every Jewish person. Meaning Hashem's essence enjoys specifically the body of each and every Jew. Which is really referring to the state of the future, which when that will happen. That in the future, the soul will be nourished by the body, it says. And that's it's explained in Sefer Marmar, Tafresh Nuntes, and Tafresh Shamachvav, and Kuntresim, and Sefer Sichos, and the Rebbe gives like 4 or 5 different sources of where this is discussed more at length, where the neshama is nourished by the body in the future. And we're talking about, so to speak, Hashem's essence, enjoying, so to speak, the body of the Jewish person. But the Shaita and then the Rebbe is connecting it to the time of the 3rd day of the week of Yom Shlishi, where it says Kitov twice. Okay. Now, should I continue or should we stop here at 8:25? Should I just finish I'll just finish this paragraph of Ches. דוגמתו ביום השישי שבו חל עשרה בטבת בטבות מונגש ביותר שהתחלת והגלות היא התחלת הגאולה. It says on this week of a Tuesday, we can see this idea that the Rebbe is bringing out, that the beginning of Churban, beginning of destruction, beginning of Galus is the beginning of the Geula, really, in its inner form, right? Similar to what it says about the planting. When you plant, it's the beginning of the sprouting, of the growth. Like we know, Galus, exile, is compared to planting. Like it says, through planting, we come to the tzmicha, we come to the growth. In a much greater way. So planting signifies that you're planting one little seed and it grows something much bigger and greater. Why does a person doesn't just plant a whole huge amount, he plants just one seed in order to bring it about, to bring a lot more out of it. And so until a complete whole, much grander amount, until unlimited amount. We'll have fruits and fruits of the fruits for until the end of generations. Meaning what we're doing in exile is a planting, but the purpose is not to just bring about what we planted, to bring about much more. So all the efforts that we're putting now Rebbe says is again, it's to bring about great, much more from it, fruits, an unlimited amount forever and ever. Through this planting and reaping, right, and in the future is revealed the wholeness of goodness. Like we see on Tuesday, that it said twice kitov. So the day that the Hashem planted, right, on Tuesday Hashem planted, right, smaching the vegetation, and that was the day it says twice kitov. It alludes to the good of the true and complete redemption in the third Bais Hamikdash Gula Nitzchit, an eternal Gula, Bais Hamikdash Nitzchit, eternal Bais Hamikdash Gula Shlishis, a third redemption, Bais Mikdash Shlishi, third Bais Hamikdash Moshe K'tuv B'yom HaShishi Kimenu V'Nichil L'Fanav, like it says, and he brings a verse from Hosea, from the prophet Hosea, and it's explained there more at length. B'yom HaShishi, on the third day, Yakimenu Hashem will uplift us, V'Nichil L'Fanav, and we will be living before him. So there's something about the third and the plant, which alludes to the planting in Gullus. Whatever we're doing now is planting seeds to bring pears, fruits and fruits for the future Geula, which will be eternal. So that's it for today. We didn't get so much into the Barzil of the woman. We'll have to do that some more. I'm going to prepare that. I said I would do it for today. I didn't, but I'm going to prepare more for that for tomorrow. I'm going to look at this in this book more, God willing, and hope to see more about the strength of the woman that we want to bring back.
Thank you.
Which Sarah alludes to. Thank you. I'm going to do psukim, and then if anybody wants to say something or ask something, you're welcome to. Moshe Kilas Yaakov, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Chol dov v'dochev adam le'oses etzmo כאילו hu yatsa hayom mimitzrayim. Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelik le'olam haba, שנאמר ועמך כולם צדיקים, לעולם ישוע את נצר מתי, מעשה ידיי להתפאר. כי קרוב אליך דבר מאוד בפיך ובקולך לעשות, והנה השם ניצב עליו ומלוא כל הארץ כבודו. ומהבית עליו ובחן חלס ולב עם עובדו כאור, ושיסבר אלוקים את השמיים ואת הארץ אשר נתן לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך. Just stop the recording 1 second. I'm singing. Oh, it's off. No, it's not off.